Assalamu alaikum. One question that I hear often as well is about um that what why there's so much punishment, torment for the polytheist. Why is that? Um, you have to understand what shirk is. Shirk is considered as the uh, biggest injustice, the zulm and azim, that will not be forgiven by Allah unless you ask intentionally forgiveness for that. Which basically means that Allah may forgive all of our sins, it is His will, but this is one thing that He wants us before we die to ask for forgiveness truly from our heart for it to be forgiven. So for this, it is very important to understand what the shirk is. So, even in traditional Islam, shirk is described as a major shirk and a minor shirk. I'm going to just talk about the major shirk, and then I will talk about the minor shirk separately. So the major shirk, it can be in three ways. It can be done in three things in three ways. One of them is the most common, which is the shirk in ibadah, or praying to more than one God. Very obvious, we know maybe some of the major religions in the world, where they will pray to multiple gods, or some of the distorted beliefs for example, Christianity or Judaism, where they may believe that God has taken a son, na'uz billah, or God has has partners. So these are very obvious, very clear. So no, very easy to notice. Then the other two forms are, in fact, taking uh, considering lordship as with somebody else other than God, or more than one God itself. This is very important to know. This is considered as the shirk in Rabubiya, or the lordship of God. So one easy example I say is that um, if you believe that um, um, part of the Quran, or you read Quran and you said, "Oh, this 90% of this makes sense. It's a good, human characters, attributes. I accept it." But this, even one page, one or these 10% of it, I don't understand it, and just because I don't understand it, I'm not gonna follow it. And sometimes you also feel like it because God has given me intellect. You're a good Muslim, and God has given me an intellect. I read it. I don't understand it, so I cannot follow it. I'm not gonna accept it. If your attitude is this, you have to think about it. Who are you in fact following? Are you following and submitting to God, or are you following to your intellect? In this case, your intellect is your God, not the like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, your creator. So this is a form of shirk in the lordship, or the rabubiyah of God. If your own desires are your God, for example, if my any of my desires, whether it is my desire for money, for sex, for any other things that make me do things, and I have to understand it, who is my God. It could be money as well. You could be like slave to dinar, or slave to dollar. If that's what it is, then you have to realize who are who is my Lord. Um, so that is the shirk in the form of the lordship. And the third one is, which is a little more requires a little bit more of thinking to know, is the shirk in the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The attributes that we call the names of Allah, or Isma Hasna, these are attributes of Allah that are very specific, very particular to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We cannot, to that extent, give it to anybody else. Um, and for example, um, uh, Allah is the one who is the uh, most merciful. He's the one who is the provider. He's the one who is the cherisher. He's the one who who is the who is enough to relieve our problems or so. So sometimes it's confusing. We do believe in having working hard for the things, and doing all what is in our capacity to take care of ourselves, but we always rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as the final giver, reliever of our issues, problems, and helper in anything that we need. We have the means, but like our main source is always as a belief is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't forget about this thing, and we always believe in this thing that the final authority, the say, and the goodness that we get is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have to understand why are these things important. So it creates, all three of these creates three different type of problems. If we are following or praying to more than one God, the simple in the shirk in the ibadah, we are basically believing that somehow our God is different and superior. You will see a lot of people, like, even some of the Christians or Jewish people thinking that, oh, Muslims pray to a different God. What it does is it allows them, makes it easy to discriminate against other people. If you are a believer in more gods and you think that there are multiple gods for different things, you are in fact discriminating it on other people. As a Muslim, you cannot discriminate. Doesn't matter if a person believes in God or does not believe in God, whether he's an atheist or a polytheist, whether he is a Christian or Jewish. We believe every single one, everything is created by the same creator, same God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What it allows us to do is we cannot feel superior or in any way better in how we are created than anybody else, whether it is based on the color, or whether based on what tongue or what, like, language we speak, or how we appear, or what extra added qualities do we have. If we are intelligent or if we are the most hardworking, we cannot discriminate based on this. This is how you need to realize that a Muslim, a muhid, can never be a racist itself, can never be discriminating against any race or anybody else based on anything. Number two, when if the lordship is considered as, like, other than God itself, and we feel that, like, our own desires or intellect can be chosen as, think about it, there are 7 billion people, like, maybe there are some people which cannot understand that why do we have to take care of somebody who is who has special needs. Why should I make money and give it to somebody who is uh, uh, poor for whatever reason? Why does, like, why do I have to give it? Because I made it because of my own intellect. Um, Also, like, especially pay interest to the in Surah Kahf, the second story about the two friends, one of them who had a lot of gardens, same pointing towards the same thing, that you cannot just assume that what you have is based on your intellect or your own desires or own, like, effort, because then you will not share or give it to anybody else, because then that's what your Lord is. The third thing is the attributes. If I start believing that there are attributes of giving or, like, sustaining are other than God, then I will be slave to those people. I will be slave to those systems. When I believe that God is the final giver, it frees me. I don't have to go beg for my job. I don't have to go beg for, like, I will work hard, but I don't believe that my job will increase my pay. If it is meant for me, it will be, and I will do my full effort, but I won't go brown nose. I won't go and do things that are not meant for me to do outside of the capacity. I won't do anything wrong. I will not oppress. I would not, like, do illegal, unethical, immoral stuff to get something, because I know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who's the final giver. So if you look it up, what does it do? A major shirk prevents you from being a person who discriminates, a person who is so self-centered that he is hates to share with anybody else, who thinks people are lazy because that's why they cannot make, or people are in, like, they don't work hard or they are not smart enough, and why should I share with them? And it frees me, so I don't have to beg brown nose people to get the things done. So uh, why is this? You have to understand also this thing. Why God made this, unless I ask for forgiveness, that He will not forgive us, because this is the basis of all problems around us that we see. If we are not truly a mu'ahad and we do not believe in this, that's when we start the corruption in the world. And without uh, correcting this, we can never, in fact, be, we can never be, um, we can never expect a good result in this life for ourselves. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks us to that we accept him as one, it doesn't increase or decrease his dominion in any way. If all of us we gather together and say we are not going to, like, believe in God, it will not reduce his ownership, his kingdom, his dominion, even as slightest of it. And if we all decide that we're going to just pray to God and we are going to be this, the most pious people in the whole humanity from the beginning to the end, it is not going to increase his dominion for even a single bit at all. When he gives us these guidance of not doing shirk, it is for us, so we treat people among ourselves the best. We take care of our weak, our poor, our incapacitated the best itself. If we are not doing it and we still consider ourselves as Muslim, we have to question that are we truly a mu'ahad, or are we just point fingers in other people and saying that, oh, you are doing a shirk and you are doing a shirk and I'm not. So I will do I don't want to make it too long. I'll do the minor shirk separately. Hopefully, inshallah, this will be helpful.